Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a payday prep of mostly filling in the gaps. Before we start, I want to talk about this because I was amazed when I saw this. I am in the process of rerouting some plumbing to our new kitchen, but as I was rerouting a water line, the cold water line, to my new faucet here in the kitchen, I had to cut off a piece of PVC. And I want to show you something that's pretty awesome. Now, look inside of this. It is clean. And I have not cleaned this, okay? Those of you that have been here long enough will know that I'm not going to lie to you to try to sway you one way or another. This is completely clean inside, and I haven't cleaned it. What does that say? That when you have a house water filtration system, it keeps your pipes clean. And not only that, but it allows your reverse osmosis system, which is the water that you're going to use for drinking and cooking, to have to work a lot less, meaning that your filters will last a lot longer. Excuse any noise that you may hear in the background. That's my new puppy trying to get in the gate into the kitchen. Now let's get to this payday prep. It actually involves some things that I purchased from the Simpure store. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that the lighting in here is okay. I haven't done all the lighting yet. The electrical is next on the list, but this week I'm going to work on the plumbing for the kitchen. Let me explain real quick to those of you that may be new to the channel. First of all, welcome. And second of all, the reason why I do these payday prep videos is kind of like a fun show and tell, but it's not to show off. It's to show you what I do and what I think about. That way, it'll give you some ideas on what you may need to stock up on in case the day that capital controls do take over the price of things and they become too expensive or just unavailable. So let's go ahead and start out with what I purchased from the Simpure store. When I did the review of the Simpure U3 gravity filtration system, I was so impressed with how nice and clean that water came out that I went and bought a couple more of the 3-packs of their water filters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these water filters are rated for 3,000 gallons each. So when you purchase this, you're purchasing 9,000 gallons of filtered water. And the price, you just can't beat it. So I decided to get a couple of packs to add to my prepper arsenal. Why? Because I still stand by what I said on that video, that if there were ever a real SHTF, that water would be one of the most barterable things that there is. Why? Think of how many people you know and ask yourselves, how many of them have a water filtration system that's gravity fed that can work without power in the worst of times? Probably not too many. If you saw a video that I put out maybe a week or two ago where I show you all what I do to my steaks in order to prep them for mid to long-term storage, you saw me using these bags right here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been using these bags for years and they haven't gone up in price that much. And these are heavy-duty bags, ladies and gentlemen. I highly recommend them. They're really thick, they're real strong, and they've always done a great job. I went ahead and picked up a couple of these 8x12s. They come to 100 per pack. And I also picked up a couple of the ones that I normally use, which are the 11x16s. Now, since so far we're talking about like hardware items, no food involved just yet, let me talk to you about some things that I think everyone ought to have. And that's a way that you can actually fix a piece of plumbing in your home, whether there's a leak or something goes wrong with it, in a hurry. Why? Because eventually it will happen. If you live in your home long enough, eventually something will happen where you need to repair something. And I'm not telling you that you should go out and buy enough piping or tubing or whatever to redo your entire house, but just enough to maybe fix a span of piping that may be burst because of the cold, freezing, etc., or for any reason whatsoever. You want to have a few couplings. Okay, you want to have a few couplings that fit the piping that you already have. So if you have PVC piping throughout your house, get yourself a few PVC couplings, maybe a few 90-degree angles, splitters, whatever it is that your piping has the most of. I'm assuming that couplings along with a few 90-degree angles would probably be enough for most people. But just make sure that it's the same size of the piping that you have. Get yourself a few 10-foot lengths of pipe, the actual pipe that you have. have. Get yourself some PVC glue and primer and a pipe cutter. All of these things put together are not very expensive. PVC has gone up in price, but I think that these 10-foot lengths probably cost me about $6 or $7 a piece. These couplings, maybe 60, 70 cents a piece. I think this was like $10. It's not that expensive to have these on standby to make sure that in the future, if you have some kind of a water emergency where a pipe bursts or something, you can just go in there, shut off your main, go ahead and make the repair yourself. And then if you don't feel comfortable with that repair, you can at least wait and get a professional to come out and take a look at it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not rocket science. Remember when you went to kindergarten or elementary school and you did a lot of gluing on paper and stuff like that? All you're doing is cutting and gluing things together with PVC. And one quick hint on the PVC glue and primer: do not let this freeze. After it thaws, once it's been frozen, it will still work, but I would never trust it for a household application. I've used PVC glue that has frozen and thawed year over year outside on applications where I don't care if that pipe leaks because it's outside. For a home application, I will never do it. I make sure that I keep my primer and glue under the house where it's always above freezing conditions. And if you're not comfortable doing a repair that requires glue, there's an easier way, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a little bit pricier. I always keep a lot of these in hand. Why? Because they are so easy to work with. And these are what are commonly called shark bites. And these work off of PVC, they work off of PEX piping, and they also work off of CPVC, which is the piping that I'm using to transfer the water from my main all the way to my new area in the kitchen. And all you have to do with these is you just press the pipe in there and you're done. And one of the rules that I've always lived by, ladies and gentlemen, since I do most of my work around the house, is that whenever I take on a major project, which this new kitchen installation was a major project and still is, that since I'm saving a lot of money, which this is what I told my wife too when I came home with these guys, since we're saving so much money that we should always get ourselves like an extra tool to have. Even if we have it, just get an extra tool to have to add to our arsenal, to add to our warehouse, which is what I like to call my big tent behind the property. So I decided to go ahead and get some of these. I think these are called channel locks. I'm terrible at remembering names, but these are pretty good quality and they were at a pretty good price. I think it was like 15 or 19 bucks for these. And as you can see, I also got a set of all the types of pliers that you can possibly think of. So let's see what it brings. Take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to believe how much I paid for this. This brings, I think it says 10 pieces, 10 different types of pliers, needle nose, you got vice grips, you got these guys right here. I forget their name, but they're the ones that you can pull nails out with and stuff. 10 pieces for like 41 bucks. That comes out to like $4 per piece. And imagine what an awesome barter item this would make if the time ever comes where they're just not available. And those times may come, especially with the price controls that this administration is trying to put on us, the consumer. I digress, ladies and gentlemen, I promise. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, when I show you all of the spam that I have, it's not a gimmick. We actually go through spam. So these were actually on sale at Costco. These came out to like $2.25 a piece. I think there was 17 bucks for a case of 8, which is a great deal. A lot better than you're going to find like at Walmart or some of those other shops where they're selling for like $4 and change. And we elected to go with the one that has less salt in it because it's not that much less salt. Your regular spam has like 700 and something milligrams of salt per serving, and this only knocks it down to like 500 and change milligrams of salt or sodium per serving. But this is just me and my family filling in the gaps, because every once in a while I love to dig into a can of spam that's like 7 or 8 years old. You all know how much I love those. I'm not a big popcorn guy, but I told my wife, hey, can you grab some popcorn? Because I want to teach Lulu how to catch. And what I do is I throw a popcorn at her mouth, And if she doesn't catch it, I grab it off the floor before she can eat it. That way she can get used to the idea that if she doesn't catch it, she's not going to eat it. And so far, I've had her be able to catch a couple of pieces of popcorn in her mouth, which were very joyous occasions. She still doesn't have it yet, but she will. So anyways, my wife, I thought she was going to grab like a bag of popcorn, you know, like the skinny corn or whatever they call those things. And instead she grabbed this and she said, this is a lot better for you than all that other stuff. Take a look at the ingredients in the back of one of those microwavable popcorn containers and you'll want to use this. And preparing this, ladies and gentlemen, is all about normalcy. Raisin Bran is something that we still use in this household. Me, not as much. Maybe once in a blue moon will I have a bowl of cereal, but the ladies still enjoy this. So we went ahead and filled in the gaps by getting one of those packs from Costco as well. And let me tell you something about preparedness. It's not about SHTF either. It's not about the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's about you being able to sustain your family's standard of living for a given amount of time. And guess what? I like napkins. I like to use napkins. Some people say just use a towel and then wash it. We do that every once in a while. But napkins, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we use on a regular basis. And if it were an SHTF situation, guess what? I want to still be able to use napkins for as long as I can. So we went ahead and stocked up, filled in the gaps with a couple of these packs of napkins from Costco. That'll last us well over a year. And let me tell you what, these are very good quality napkins, by the way. Have you seen the price of paper plates lately? It's incredible. But paper plates, in my opinion, is not just a luxury. In a way it is, but during an SHTF or some kind of elongated crisis, it will be a necessity. Why? What if you don't have water? What if you have only enough water to drink? You can't be washing dishes. You don't want disease to start to overtake your home because you're trying to eat off of plates that are dirty. That may sound a little bit hyperbolic, but ladies and gentlemen, it's true. Usually during a crisis that lasts long enough where utilities are not available, people aren't passing away from marauders. They're mainly passing away and losing their lives from cholera, if that's how you pronounce it, or dirty water. So if you're just getting enough potable water to drink, you're not going to spend that water on plates, on cleaning your plates, on cleaning your pots. So having paper plates is a great idea. We use these, I would say, on a regular basis. We probably go through a pack like this maybe every 2 to 3 months, but we always have enough on reserve to last us probably about a year if we needed them on an everyday basis. I love Nutrient Survival Coffee, but I do understand, and a lot of people don't understand, that it's a little bit pricey. But what you get for the money, ladies and gentlemen, you can't compare to anything else. So if you haven't checked out Nutrient Survival and all of their product, go check them out, because you're going to get all of the nutrition that you need on an everyday basis in either the form of food or the form of drink, the way you're supposed to get your nutrition, not from some kind of a vitamin pill or something. Anyways, having said that, I like to stock up on cheap coffee. 2 reasons. It has caffeine and it's very easily barterable. I have some of this coffee. Let me show you. We've been working on this coffee for a long time, right? And you can see that it's starting to fade. But I had this coffee for over 2 years on a windowsill where the sun was beaming down on it every day during those months in Alaska where it's sunny. And you can see that it's starting to peel off, and that's why, because the sun was hitting this every single day. Let me show you the date on it. I forgot myself, so I have to look at it when I'm done showing it to you. But the date on it, the best buy date is February of 2022. So it's already 2 years past the best buy date. It was sitting on a windowsill for at least 2 years, getting beamed on with the heat of the sun and the light of the sun, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe that if you store your freeze-dried coffee in a place that's temperature controlled and there's not a lot of light, it will last pretty much indefinitely. Freeze-dried coffee will be an awesome barterable item if the day ever came where caffeine wasn't available. Now that would be a real SHTF. And now I can see why this coffee was on sale, because the best buy date on this one is October 2024. However, I am very confident that this will outlive me if properly stored. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this payday prep. I truly do hope that you are preparing, and if you are preparing, continue to fill in those gaps. If you're not preparing, do a little bit of research. Don't just take my word for it. I believe that you will need your preparations sometime in your lifetime. And the thing is that you really won't know when. But when you do need them and you have them, you're going to be very happy, especially if you're the head of the household, that you were able to continue to feed your family no matter what happens. Having said that, I hope you have a great day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.